Hey there, good evening. I am Holly Pitus, and I am an emotion code, body code practitioner. So thanks for joining me tonight. And do you know anybody that you think is almost allergic to themselves? People that have a continual repetition of just negative self-talk and downgrading themselves, always talking about how they're a failure or talking about how they want to succeed at something and yet they still don't take the steps to do it. Well, that is our topic tonight for our visit here with the emotion code and body code. And actually, I am going to see if I can get my comments posted here. And so let me see if it will actually go on. I'm not sure if it will. And I'm going to pop over to my Facebook page and go on here and add a comment. Always easier said than done. And let's see if I can get it on here. So anyway, with the always easier said than done. And there we go. That's doing double duty. And of course, my all right, you can't do two things at one time. That is definitely true. And so I'm trying to post my place that you can post your comments. I think I'm going to have to delete this whole beginning. Let me see. All right, let me try one more time here. And let me see if I can get this commented. Here we go. We're going to show this here. So that is how you can let me know that you are actually here live with me. And let me see if I can get it this way. I'm going to pop back over. Thank you for your patience. There we go. Finally, I have it posted in Facebook. All right, let me start over. Hello again. So if you are one of those people, or maybe you have a friend who is just always doing negative self-talk, always just seeming almost like they have an allergy for themselves or an intolerance of themselves because they're continually speaking themselves down or not following through with things that they say they want to do. So that's part of the body code. Now, oftentimes I usually talk about the emotion code, which is something that is super fantastic. And you've seen the chart. If you've seen earlier shows of mine, usually I start off with the emotion code chart, and that can actually do a lot. It's the, emotions that we hang on to, which will then become a negative emotion for us because it's just hanging on to us. And it will continue to trip us up. So things like if you have excessive anxiety or excessive crying, or you have a lot of internal conflict, so conflict making decisions, you can't quite decide. Wishy-washy is actually one of the emotions that you can have that can be a negative emotion. But when we go into the body code actually has a lot that will affect us much more deeply in our body. It's almost like your body is talking to you and your body wants to tell you these things. And so you can experience things like, headaches. Frustration can give you a headache or a stomach ache. You can have grief or fear that you often feel because you're like holding your breath, or you want to hold your breath, or something happens, people tell you something that is surprising news or shocking news, and you just sort of take a deep breath and then you just kind of hold it. So there are a lot of ways that our bodies hold on to these what become negative trapped emotions. They're emotions that are trapped and become a negative influence in our body. And then if you're inclined, you can also find that there are repetitive messages that your body gives you. So, every time you talk to a coworker who you maybe don't really like or has been troublesome, that's right when, you'll be like, oh, my left temple always hurts when that person walks away. Or you feel like you have a bit of sore throat. Or again, you find that you're around that person, you're holding your breath, you get the stomach ache. And it can also be odd things like, your knee will hurt, your toe will hurt. There's all kinds of different things. And that's your body telling you that there's something else going on here that you need to resolve. And when you are having something that we call an idea allergen or an intolerance, sometimes it's with other people, sometimes it's with yourself. So I use a particular chart here, and this is from the body code. And so these charts are all set up in the same manner that we have, columns of A, B, C, D. So there will be a couple of columns across, and then these are a couple of columns. And then there's usually 5 or 6 emotions within each row that is grouping some of these similar ones. So, for example, on the idea allergen and intolerances chart on column B, row 2, it's your own thoughts, your own behavior, your personality, yourself, growing up, and life. There's another one. So again, it's row 2, and in column C, it's love, giving love, receiving love, a connection. That can be a connection to yourself. It can be a connection to people in your life. It could also be a connection in terms of like a commitment to a job that you have, your spirituality, your health, another person. It could also be letting go and going with the flow. And so if you have an intolerance for one of those things, you maybe have an intolerance for love. So that can be love of yourself. It can be love of another person. It can be a love, like a love that you would have for a family member or a close friend. It could be a romantic relationship. And what would happen if you would have an intolerance for love? How would you treat yourself? How would you treat other people? What would your relationships be like? And that can be in terms of relationships with another person, could be with one of your pets, could be with your neighbors, your coworkers. If you take a bus or a subway to work, it could even just be with the people sitting next to you in your mode of transportation. And by using the body code and being able to identify that this is the thing that you are having an intolerance for, and removing that negative trapped emotion, your entire life can open up. And just think too, if you had an intolerance for your own thoughts or your own behavior, that's a pretty difficult way to live if you don't even like yourself. And that's really one of the first steps to having a successful life, is you have to have an acceptance of yourself. You have to have an appreciation for yourself and your talents. And it doesn't matter if your talents are the same or different than other people. Your talents are your own. And by being able to appreciate what you have and what you can do, then allows you to open up, have a good connection with other people, whether that be in a personal relationship, your work relationships, the way you do your job, can even be an intolerance, say for your own behavior, could be this negative presentation that you have with doing your work. And how is that going to help you in terms of your career, being successful in your career, liking your job, getting along with your coworkers, getting promotions? If you're an entrepreneur and you need to attract new business, or maybe you're in sales, maybe you're a teacher, and if you if you have this negative self-talk going on all the time about your own behaviors or your own abilities, it just permeates everything. And I'm sure you've probably been with people that you know that they just don't like themselves. And it's like, well, if you don't like you, I don't know that I want to bother trying to like you, because it seems like a fruitless journey. So, is this something that you might be contending with? Is there someone in your life that might be contending with it, with this kind of intolerance? And so I'm only giving you a couple of ideas here. There's let's see, there are probably 45 different types of emotions here, or situations that you can have. Interesting, I just read a post today about a person that just had a birthday of 1 year longer than their parent had lived. A parent died in their 40s, and this person's having a birthday that is a year older than what their father grew to be. And so they always were afraid of that age coming up. They were afraid that they would die before that age or at that age, just like their father had. And they've now surpassed it. And now all of a sudden, too, is the realization of like all of the things that their father had missed. Their father died when he was 40 years old. And so this person has now just turned 41. And so imagine having an intolerance for your own birthday and your own age. That's a scary way to live, because your birthday comes around every year. And if you are afraid of that birthday, afraid of meeting that age or surpassing the age of that someone close to you had passed away, then it can cause so much difficulty within you. So that's where you can have headaches, neck pain, sleepless nights, difficult habits, drinking too much alcohol, drinking too much coffee, watching too much TV or something. or I heard a term today that I thought was pretty funny. It was called fancy procrastination. So it's not just saying, okay, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to go do something else, but you're choosing to maybe take another class or beautify something so that you can avoid doing whatever it is you're trying to avoid. So I thought that term fancy procrastination it's not just sitting on the couch and watching TV. You're actually doing a diversion type of task. All right, so that is enough, I think, for tonight. And I would love to be able to work with you one-on-one. So you know how to find me, Holly Pitus, Get Feeling Better. You can find me at getfeelingbetter.com, and we can work an appointment together. I'm able to do it remotely just by email. You can let me know what your issues are that you'd like to work on, what your goals are, talk about the symptoms that you have. So maybe your symptoms are a headache, or your symptoms are not showing up for work on time, or not getting out of bed the first time the alarm rings. And, maybe it's job hopping, and you're just not able to commit to one job, always thinking the grass is greener. It really never is. So we can work together. Hopefully we can be able to locate all of your negative trapped emotions that you've been collecting since the day you were born, and probably have inherited and absorbed some from your ancestors. These being able to work one-on-one is fun, it's quick, it's painless, and you don't have to go into any deep, long story of something that might be difficult for you to talk about. You can just say, here's the thing that I'd like to overcome: the biting my nails, drinking too much coffee, not getting to work on time, always fighting with my family members or my spouse, or I have a bad day at work and I come home and I take it out on my kids or my dog or what have you. And so we can identify these, use the emotion code. It's a quick, easy, painless type of way of helping you to feel better. That's why I call my business Get Feeling Better. So I look forward to working with you one on one, and I will see you soon.